Hello, beautiful people, and how are you all doing today? It's another beautiful Saturday afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you might be joining from. And this is the Parenting Essentials with Oye from the Vision Guide. I want to say thank you for joining me again today. And how has your week been? I want to believe you've been having an amazing time with your families and friends, with your work and everything. And if you have not been having an amazing time, I want you to know that there is always going to be that time, but never worry because there's going to be light behind the tunnel. So don't lose hope. Whatever you might be going through, whatever challenges that is happening to you at the moment, I want you to know that do not give up because everything is going to be all right. Only believe and work towards it. All right, it's another Saturday evening, as I said earlier, and it's Parenting Essentials. And today I'll be talking about a topic I've treated before. However, I've been getting quite a lot of questions that made me realize that people are still quite kind of confused when we talk about this particular thing. And that is no other than talking about a difficult child. Difficult child. I heard parents asking questions like, when I talk to my child, instead of the child to just comply, they'll just be asking mommy why, daddy why. That child is very difficult. My child is very difficult, always asking why before following instructions and everything. So I want you to know that asking a why does not give a child that tag of being a difficult child. Also, when you're having a strong-willed child, a strong-willed child does not necessarily have to be a difficult child. So I'll be talking about dealing with a difficult child. However, today I'll be talking about things that you need to look out for. What are the things you need to look out for? How can you actually know that this particular child is difficult? What are the things that you might see or you can see to actually note or sense that maybe the child is difficult? Because it's really quite common, and often I know this child is not difficult. The child is just asking a question. The child just wants clarity. The child might just be a strong will. The child might just be going through some difficulties. The child might even be depressed. The child might be on the spectrum. The child might be, it can be anything. But we oftentimes jump to the word, my child is difficult. So maybe in the next 2 weeks, I'll be talking about how to deal with a difficult child. But today, I want to take it easy for us to actually know, how can you know, is this child difficult? What are the things that you should look out for? What behavior qualify a child to be under that tag? I don't even want to talk about labeling. I'm just going to leave it. But what behavior qualify that saying this child is difficult? What? So I'm just going to be saying few one by one and just trying as much as possible to explain what are the behaviors that you can look out for before you say a child is difficult. So once again, I want to say thank you for joining me. If you don't mind, let me know where you're joining from. Where are you joining me from today? If you are there and you can see me and you can hear me and it's clear and audible enough, just let me know. Okay, I can see Coach Dupe there. Thank you, Coach Dupe, for joining me today all the way. Thank you so much. God bless you, ma'am. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. All right, let's talk about a difficult child and what are the things that you need to look out for to know that a child is difficult. Number one thing, let's talk about early years, most especially, and middle school, but this is most common with early years. That is a frequent tantrum. Don't forget, I've always said this and I'm going to say it again, that tantrum is quite normal for children. So when we talk about temper tantrum, it's different. But when a child is going through a tantrum, it is not an abnormal thing, but underline the word frequent tantrum. So when you have a child that is oftentimes always having tantrum, you might need to look out for that. Every small thing is tantrum. Intense emotional outburst, inappropriate behavior, like it's just something small. But before you know it, the child might just throw something and just roll on the floor. Maybe you're just talking to the child, come and sit down. But because the child doesn't want to sit down, you just hear the child scream and just roll on the floor, maybe bump self. These are the things that you might look out for. Just a little correction. That's not good enough. They don't want to hear that. So it's always with frequent tantrum. Instead of them to listen and follow through, they rather defend themselves with frequent tantruming. So these are the things that you should look out for before you say, oh, my child is difficult. My child is difficult. And anytime they have this frequent tantrum, they find it so difficult to calm down. You have taught them, maybe you think you are teaching techniques for that child to calm down, but yet it's quite difficult to calm down. The breathing is there. Maybe they are playing with fidget toys, whatever it is, soft toys. You have tried so many things, but yet it's always difficult for them to calm down. Anything that you have tried to use in suiting them, all this effort is like it's just falling on the solid ground. So these are the things that you might be underlining, and that it is not even enough for you to say this child is difficult. So I'm just calling your attention to a few things that you should look out for before you just say it, asking mommy, why do I need to do this? I say, coach, that child is just difficult. If I say do this, my child is just difficult. Relax. Relax and find out, is this child actually really difficult, or you are the one that is actually difficult and you're trying to see who to push this to. All right, that's one thing that you have to look out for, frequent tantrum. Another thing that you need to look out for is defiant and non-compliance. Defiant and non-compliance. No matter what it is, this particular child is not ready to listen, not to think about following through. Every time. Every time. I am telling you all this for you to know. I am not saying the child is doing something bad at the moment, and I'm not saying that the child is having a particular challenge, but I'm pointing out things to look out for, because we have to be very careful when we are dealing with our child. One, not to tag them wrongly. Two, not to misjudge them. Three, not to be busy and be giddy when we're supposed to be helping our child through a challenge. So, however, because I've oftentimes seen parents calling children that are not actually difficult, that is why I want to mention the things to look out for to identify a child who is actually difficult. So, they are very, very persistent. They don't even want to listen to you. They are not interested in any positive point. And even with that, you are with your calm voice, your calm body. Everything is intact, but yet it doesn't always defensive. There is a reason for that. Something happened, but that's not where I'm going to today. Something happened, and that's not where I'm going to today. That's not where I'm going to today. So, but I want you to know that, every time persistent refusal to follow instruction is always there, They don't want to follow rules, maybe from you, from any form of authority. Maybe you have a nanny in the house, maybe the teacher in the class, maybe the school rules, the house rules. They are not interested. And anytime you try to even be calm to tell them, they say, no, no, and everything, they don't want to hear that. Always say no, arguing to authority figures, and, every time. So this is one thing you should look out for. That is the second point for today. And the third point for today is aggression. Is the with. All right, big apologies on that. Some technical issues here, so we're trying to work on the sound. Just let me know if the sound is back now. Let me know if the sound is back now. Apologies, apologies. If you're there, please let me know. Kindly let me know if the sound is back now. Hello, can you hear me? Is the sound back now? I think so now. All right, thank you everybody for waiting. Thank you for being patient. You know, these things happen sometimes. Okay, I believe you can hear me audibly now, and hopefully we're going to roll through quickly without the sound giving us issue. So I was talking about things to look out for, to know, to to watch out for a difficult child. I've spoken about the frequent tantrum, defiant and non-compliance, and I was talking about aggression towards others. Child is just kicking and eating others, beating or biting for no reasons that we, obvious reasons that we can't see. Of course, there is a reason in general to the child, but in general, there is no particular reason that we can see. That's what I'm talking about. You know, they're just being aggressive towards others. They just want to be mean. They don't want to be nice. They just want to move close to a child and bite. So these are the things that we need to look out for. Another thing that you should look out for that is impulsivity. Impulsivity is one thing that you should look out for. You know, they are always acting without thinking. There's no impulse control. No impulse control. And this is one of the major aspects of developmental stages in children. And quite a lot of children are lacking this stage. Some of them they missed this milestone, and some of them they started developing it, but it wasn't mastered. So this aspect is very difficult. They don't think, they just want to do anything. They don't think about consequences. Maybe they want to do something and they don't even think what is going to happen. Maybe you ask them, don't do this. If you do this, this is going to happen. Maybe you have already given them consequences, but your consequence is not even going to give them any pause. Your consequence will not give them any reason to even think. They just want to do it anyways. It doesn't matter what is going to happen. Maybe you said, don't use the knife. You can cut your fingers. They actually want to use the knife to see if their finger is caught, what is going to happen. They want to see what is going to happen. So they don't actually think much. So such a child, you might look out to being difficult. I am not saying such a child is difficult, but these are one of the things that you should look out for. They just interrupt, they just grab things, they just run around. You tell them, stay safe, don't, your walking feet, so that you don't bump. Always tell them reasons. Even with that, they actually want to now, okay, I will not stay safe. I'm just going to run around. I will not use my walking feet. And if I bump my head, I want to see how the pain is going to be. So we have quite a lot of children around the globe, and these children are amazing. And our job is to be skilled enough to help them throughout these phases, because this is a phase, and they're going to grow out of it, no matter what is going on in the life of a child, be it neurotypical, be it neurodivergent. Every child is teachable. However, at this moment, what I'm doing is to pinpoint the things that you have to look out for. And I am not saying that when you see one of those things in your child or in anybody's child, you are now the therapist or the specialist who has diagnosed the child and said, your child is difficult. No, that is not, it's not you. It's not in your place to even target a child. But as a parent, what you should look out for, if you are confused, if you are like, you are becoming overwhelmed, like, my child is difficult and I don't know what to do. And because I've seen reasons to go through this point for you, because people have oftentimes asked a child who is just curious, who is just strong-willed, who is just, want to know their why to tag them difficult. So there is need for us to understand what are the things we should look out for when we're talking about being difficult. What are the things that we should look out for? Another thing that you should look out for is hyperactivity. Just like what I said before when I was talking about impulsivity, when with a child that like impulse control, I use running around as example. So when we talk about hyperactivity, oh my, they don't want to sit. They can't. They actually want to try to sit, but it's like they're in bondage. They just want to run around. They just want to do everything. They just want to jump on the couch like a trampoline. They just want to run through the stairs. They don't have that moment of pause. They are always on their higher arousal every time. They're never staying on the optimum level. They're never staying on the lower arousal. They are always at the optimum level. And they're just going to always, they are neither using their front brain nor the back brain. They just want to know. They are clumsy. They bump into people, just too active. So a parent might actually say, this child is difficult because, they are handful and you need skill to deal with such a child. And this does not necessarily mean there's an underlying issue with the child. So being difficult is different from being on the spectrum. Being difficult is different from having ADHD. Even if a child is having hyperactivity, that does not mean you should diagnose your child or somebody's child to say, that child is having ADHD. No, it's not your job to do that. Quite a number of children are very active, they are hyper, and they are not, even after evaluation, they didn't fall into being diagnosed for ADHD. Yes, they are just hyper, they are just active. So we really need to be careful, especially when we start to, everybody is now a therapist. When you see somebody's child, you're just looking at them that they don't know what they're doing, they're not raising their child well. I've said this many times, so please let's calm down. Let's calm down so that we don't overwhelm our friends, our families, people around us, even with our look or their work. You're not doing anything about your child. I'm going out of point, but please don't do it. So hyperactivity is there, constant fidgeting. You see some of them, they are always fidgeting, they are always talking excessively. They can't keep some word to themselves. Mommy, daddy, they want to say something, that is also bring us back to the impulse control. Everything that comes to mind, they want to say it. And I believe I fall into this because I remember I developed this as a child, as an adult, or as a teenager, maybe. I remember that everything that comes to my mind, I want to talk. I want to say it. I want to say it. I want to say it. I want to talk. So our job is to check a personality of our child and to see how we can help that child to develop the aspect that is quite of low, the aspect that is not well developed. So that does not actually mean anything. You just want to talk. You just want to say anything. You see this person, you want to talk. You cannot keep quiet. You cannot do anything. It doesn't mean the child is having issues. You just need to take advantage. Instead of saying that child is a talkative, that child is talking and being active. So I'm just talking about what you need to look out for in difficult children. All right, I believe I'm making sense to you. So if you are there, you are hearing me, and I'm making sense to you. I'm not too fast, and I'm clear enough. Please just let me know in the comment section, even though I cannot see your comment yet, but I'll be checking it later. All right. So, they're talking excessively, appearing on the go. I just want to go. Anybody's going, they want to go. Just somebody's going, maybe you have a friend or a family friend who came to visit. They just want to pick their shoes, they want to go because they don't want to sit in the house. Everywhere is just boring. And you tell them, please sit down. They are not the please sit down type. They are not the please keep quiet type. You have to always be on your toes, be on a game to create activity for them, to engage them. They are hands-on child. They're what we call, so you have to create every time an hands-on activity for them, so that you will not always be saying, this child is just difficult. I am tired, coach. I am very tired. I don't know what to do again. You cannot even sit for 5 minutes. You cannot even, yes, you are blessed. So get to work. Get to work. All right, so another one is emotional dysregulation. When a child is emotionally dysregulated, a parent can actually get to the point of saying, this child is difficult. Extreme difficulty in managing emotions. Small thing, even the whole house want to collapse. Maybe with their screaming, with their tears, Don't talk. I've already spoken about frequent tantruming. So emotional dysregulation is another one. Their mood is just like this mood swing. 1 minute you want to give them something, they say, I want. You want to give them, I don't want again. They will just scream. Oh, without saying anything. They do, okay, mommy, let's go. Children do have mood swing also, just like adults. So when we are looking out for those things in our children, I always say to parents, please take it easy. Don't go for those children. Can you evaluate yourself? Be sincere to yourself. As an adult, are you sure you don't even have mood swing yourself? Another minute you are hot, another minute you're cold. Are you sure you don't have mood swing? So these are the things we should look out for, This can give them overreacting into minor frustration. Something very minor, something not very serious. These are signs of emotional dysregulation. Can I just pick a peanut or can I have a biscuit? They can say yes genuinely because you ask, and they're going to hand it over to you. But the reaction after that, you will regret, why did I ask this child for this biscuit? The child, I did not force you to give me. You gave it willingly. But the reaction is like there is an armed robbery case that is going on, and there must be an emergency call right now. So if you are not, what will I say? If you are not very, very skilled, a lot of parents at this point, they're going to be frustrated and, they're just going to be tired. So that's where you hear, can you just go and do vacation in grandma's house? Can you just, school vacation should stop. These children should go back to school, because we all need to know how to deal with our children. They are not problematic. They are not problematic. We just need to learn how to understand each child's individuality, each child's temperament, how to deal with each child. I was talking about the user's manual. I think earlier last month, I was talking about user's manual. If you have a child and maybe you know the temperament of the child, the personality class of that child, and you don't have that child's user's manual, it's still going to be a war, because you don't know how to use that child yet. So you always find a way. And if you're like, oh, what's she talking about? What is user manual? Please message me. It's not what we can do here. How can I use this child? How best can I unfold this child? So I'm talking about things that you can see or you might see to say this child is difficult. Another one is withdrawal or isolation. Some of them, they don't have frequent tantrum. It's not like you can really see something in particular for emotional dysregulation, but they can just be withdrawn. They can just be in their room all day. But a lot of parents do not see that as difficult because they feel like, I have all my time to myself. That might be a red flag also. The child just wants to be alone. If you talk to them, they're like, why are you disturbing my peace? It's not just one time, but constantly. I understand some people want to be alone. But this one, in this case, I'm talking about extreme isolation. They just want to be alone, especially when the age of the child does not actually show what should give reasons why they're not thinking about exams. They may be early school years, and you see that child, mommy, please don't talk to me, you're disturbed. Every time you call their name like this, their face is like, A lot of people do not always pay attention to this because, I have time. No child is disturbing me and everything, but it's something also that you have to look out for. You have to really, really look out for that. They avoid social interaction. They don't want to talk to anybody, not even sometimes to you as parents, the uncles, the family. They always totally avoid social interaction. They will refuse to participate in anything, even in family activity. They don't want it. Let's play this game together. No. They are not never interested. Please, you might need to think about watching out for that. Another thing is oppositional behavior. I want to go fast so that we can finish. So next week in detail, I'm just talking about things to look out for in identifying a difficult child. So next week, I will go into how to deal with it. This is just, okay, now I know if I see this, maybe the child is difficult. So next week, I will go into how to deal with it. And also might be saying things, the underlying issue. Because I always say that every cry of a child is a cry for help. A child who is always having frequent tantrum It might look like nothing happened to you, but that is a cry for help. A child that is always isolated, it might look like the child is just gentle, but that is a cry for help. The child that is always, on emotional swing, emotional dysregulation, but we didn't do anything to the child. We are okay in this family, but that is a cry for help. So I might be talking in that line, but I don't want to do this more than 2 weeks. So if that permits, I will talk in that line, the what can be the cause and how you can deal with it. So next week. So another thing is oppositional behavior, which really they are annoying others, provoking others. That is similar to the one I've said before, when children are just eating others, they don't want to play with others, aggressive towards others. So it's kind of similar. So maybe depending on the age and what they do can differentiate them better. This is always oppositional behavior, even when they see people that are doing great things. And that is why we have to be intentional about teaching our children some skills. One of it is to teach them that failure is part of life. I know a lot of you don't want to hear that. You're always telling your children, you are meant to succeed. Of course, they are meant to succeed. My children will succeed, so don't get it twisted. But if something otherwise happened, maybe in the exams, they didn't come A's, they didn't come home with A+ this time, I'm not saying I'm going to encourage them, but teach them to know that they need to learn why it happened and how it will not happen again, instead of getting depressed. We've seen children over the years that because they're always A+ students, but because this time we're having 1B, they're going to fall into depression. And that is because of what we have taught them, what we have made them believe, that failure is not part of life. Another thing, we have to intentionally teach our children at these things, and we have to really, that we celebrate others. Teach your children to learn to celebrate other success. They have gone to a party. Maybe, for example, they are having musical chairs or dancing statue or any game like that, and they didn't come first. Maybe they didn't even come second. Maybe they were not even able to come up with gift. Naturally, children want to cry. I know. Naturally, they feel rejected, dejected, and they want to cry. But if you have taught them early, it's never too late. It doesn't matter what age is your child, but please let them learn to celebrate others. You didn't win today. You didn't come home with the gift today, but are you happy for the person that got the gift? Be intentional about teaching these skills. It doesn't have to be. See, when we say these things, sometimes some people are like, no, I don't want to listen to these people that don't have poverty mentality, or they are not having winning power. No, it's different. It's okay. I'm not saying my children will not win. There's a thin line with explaining these things sometimes. It's very tough, and this is parenting essentials. We can't break the table here. Let them celebrate others. Anyways, they didn't win anyways. So why breaking? Why not celebrating others? Why not happy for the person? We have to be intentional about these ones. This is going to help them with developing this part of their lives. Oppositional behavior will be reduced. They will not see any other person as threat. Of course, they might get into competition and they have to win. Okay, but please understand what I'm saying. They are always blaming others for their own mistakes because they have not trained them. No. They have done something wrong, and I can see this is quite common with children. All of a sudden, oh, it's this person. No, it's Titilayo. It's okay if you have done something wrong. So we have to be intentional in teaching these skills. I need to run because of time. Time is going. Another thing is sensory sensitivity. Some of our children are and some of them are sensory need. I don't want to go in there. I'm not talking about being on the spectrum or anything now, but we're talking about when you see a child to be difficult. Some of them might be going to sensory issues, and you don't know why the child is screaming. It might just be the light up. The child might just be sensitive to that light in the room. It might be the color in the room, the painting on the wall. This thing sounds so simple. It sounds so simple, but it's something that you have to pay attention to. You don't know why the child is always just screaming and shouting. It might be the color of the light, the color of the room, maybe the color of the clothes. These are all sensory issues. And to you, you're just going to say, this child is difficult. You might need to look out for it. Maybe you're still trying to find, why is my child doing this? What is happening? It might be sensory sensitivity, overreacting to sensory things. Overreacting to sensory stimuli. Maybe for you as an adult, think about something that you actually irritate you. Maybe you are hearing a sound surface. Some of us, I always say most of us are sensory need. If we actually think about how we have developed ourselves over the years, maybe they are grounding something. Maybe you can't even hear that sound. It might be anything sensory need. It's going to be what can be part of our five senses. It can be what we see, what we hear. It can be what we smell. It can be irritating. But it's not like, yeah, but I just cook night food. Why are you all doing like this? Why? They might be sensory seeking. It might be a sense of touch. Maybe the best spread that you put for that child is always having tantrum to go to bed, is because they are sensitive to that surface. So that is your job now, to discover what is happening, the uniqueness of that child, so that you can create the user's manual. These things oftentimes does not make sense to a lot of people. But when you have seen those blessed child, especially abled, and you have been privileged to work with them, you will count everything I'm saying to be much important. And when you see these things in the life of your child, does not mean, I say it again, I am not saying they are on the spectrum, or especially any special needs. But these are things that we need to just find ourselves and find. Some adults, you see some adults over the time, you don't know why you do it, but you just like to play with your wedding band. It's also sensory seeking. But because you are adults, nobody's going to shout at you. Nobody's going to say, why are you always rolling? Why are you always... Even some adults now, they eat their fingers. Some just stuck their lips. These things are there. It's also sensory needs. But we overlook these things because we are adults. Then we bank on our children, say, this child is just difficult. This child doesn't want to listen. Please, I believe we have sensitive parents and those who are ready to unlearn and relearn here today. This is not a very simple discussion today. Don't just say what she's saying, but please, if you are intentional in journeying successfully in this, on this route, on this journey called parenting, these are things that you have to pay attention to. Don't just overlook them, And now I'm talking about difficulty in sleeping, and that is going to bring me from the previous point about the sensory sensitivity. Maybe the child is sensory seeking. It might also cause difficulty in sleeping for them. They cannot sleep. And some of them, they just want to resist bedtime. When it's bedtime, they will say, they will come up with my headache, my head is this, my head is that. There's something, don't forget, every cry is a cry for help. And I'm not going there today. So because that's your job now, to now see, how do I work on the routine? What happens? So you have to follow, you have to study. I don't want to jump points. Let me just keep talking about the things you should look out for, And this is good when they don't sleep well, they get fatigued, they have all these things. And another thing that you should look out for, I'm going to be rounding up shortly, is persistent in negative attitude. Every time, negative attitude, behavior. I've said something similar, I'm just going to run, Lying and manipulative behavior. Hey, some children just want to lie. Even when you can see that this is green, they are telling you, mommy, this is not green, it's purple. You don't know why. I don't know, maybe you've seen that, or you have a child that you don't know why that child is just always lying. Can I surprise you today that the lying is actually part of developmental delay? At a point, children might tend to lie. Our job is now to teach them that, find out why and teach them the reasons why they don't have to lie. So the fact that you see a child lying does not mean, this child is a bad child. No, the child is not difficult or a bad child. It's a stage in life, and it comes with developmental growth. Lies come with developmental growth. Our job is to find out. You have to study what are the occurrences, what are the things that led to that, or that is always leading to, before you notice that the child is lying. And don't say you are a liar. You are a liar. I told you, no. Never say to a child you are a liar. Don't just reinforce bad behavior. Don't say you are a liar. Rather, look for an avenue, an example to share. Maybe something that you have done. Think about when you lied as a child. Tell me, I've never lied. Okay, think about when you lied, what happened, why you lied, and how you see things now on a neutral day. Maybe you're just taking a walk with that child. Just use yourself or an adult they see around as example. With that, it helps them to grow in this stage. It gives clarity to them in this stage. So these are the things that I'm talking about today. Let me just say one more point, and I'm going to call it a day. Excessive attention seeking. Hey, love. Our children, they want to love us, and we love them. But I'm talking about excessive attention seeking. All our children love attention. Even as adults, think about yourself. Most of us still love attention. When you go to your friend's party, and your friend is not coming to you every time to give you a hug, but you are sitting with your friends. You are not the only friend of this friend, but you want that attention to be on you, like, but I'm your special friend now. Everybody should know you are also an attention seeker. So why are we not working on ourselves so that we can help our children? These are little things. I went to that party. Majide is not looking at me. She just say hi, Ore. I travel from this state to the other state, and now she can just say, hey, Ore, thank you for coming. My friend, thank you for coming. That is good enough. She's busy with so many people. Why are you looking for that attention? So now back to our children. So some of them, or all of them, they love attention. Most of our children love attention, but I'm talking about excessive attention seeking. Small thing. They just want you to be there. That's what I'm talking about. So look out for that. Always interrupting conversation. You're talking to adults, they just want to interrupt. They want to just share their opinion. They want to be next to you. These are the things that you might actually, and a lot of parents actually enjoy this a lot. And some do like, oh, what is this? Go somewhere. Let me have my breathing space. These are the things that you might look out for to see that this child is difficult. So next week I'll be talking about how to deal with difficult child, and I'll be sharing some practical solution. And I think practical is going to help. When we talk about things that happen, how to deal with it, it's going to help a lot. I'll try as much as possible next week to share practical solution on how to deal with this difficult child. So, but you have to know that some of this behavior might be an indicator. Everything I've said might be an indicator to a deeper emotional and a psychological or developmental issue. I am not saying it is, but might be an indicator that this child needs help. And we always say that early intervention is key. And you might be even talking about your young adult, your teenager, and everything, okay? So it might be an indicator, deeper indicator for emotional, psychological, developmental issue. And these issues I'm talking about might be ADHD. Don't forget I talk about hyperactivity. And I said it categorically that the child is hyperactive does not mean when you diagnose that child. I'm not saying self-diagnosis. The child is going to be diagnosed for ADHD. But it might be. So these things you can't just look at. You can't look. It's not head brain or by sight. Because a lot of us do a lot of head brain. A lot of counselors out there, they're doing head brain. What they think, what they have learned over the time, what they have learned from the environment. No, we need to start using proven approaches. All right, so it might be attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is there. We have the autism spectrum disorder, ASD is there. We have the anxiety and depression. And this, a lot of people do not know that this exists. A lot of parents, how can a child have anxiety now? What is she thinking about? Children fall into anxiety disorder, and children also get into depression. And I remember, was it last year or 2 years ago? I was talking about stress, and I was talking about why some people use their family and friends as stress buffer. And I was talking about that children also do get stressed. I believe the video should be on Facebook and YouTube. It should be about 2 years ago, thereabout, or 1 year plus. I dealt that, and I was talking about stress for children. So these things are real. Children can have anxiety disorder. They can have depression, depending on the situation. So don't ever overlook that. But I'm the one making the money. Just think because you are the one working for the money, you are the only person that can get depressed. So another thing is the ODD. We have the oppositional defiant disorder. ODD is there, and we have the trauma or attachment issue. So these things are there that might be, when you see this thing, might be. So our job is, when we see these things, don't just overlook. Don't just say, I'll pray, or I will beat the hell out of you. Everything is not, I'll beat the hell out of you. I'll say it again, early intervention is key. If you are not sure, get the professional involved in your parenting journey. If you are seeing a challenge in the life of the child, please get a professional, let the child be diagnosed, evaluated, at least. Then you know what to do. When you know the underlying issue, you'll be able to know how to deal with it. Even if you want to pray, you know which area to pray about. Or I believe that you have learned something today. So next week, I'll be talking about how to deal with a difficult child, and I'll be sharing some practical solution next week. So don't miss next week and join me. And I've really taken time to talk about why why we need to identify why we need to identify difficult child's traits today. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I'm not just going to ask questions because we are not gone far yet. I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. And in case you're just seeing my face for the first time, my name is Oye Esther, and I am your family life practitioner and a parenting coach. And every Saturday evening, I come live here on Parenting Essential. This is coming to you from the Vision Guide, where we hold ourselves hand in hand, sharing parenting essentials, the things that is going to be of help to you in your parenting journey. And as we go, I want you to know that parenting must be intentional, parenting must be purposeful, parenting must be full of vision, because this vision is what is going to guide you jealously on this visionary parenting journey with intentionality. And that is why we say only the Vision Guide. I'll see you again next week by the grace of God. God bless you and stay blessed. Bye for now. God bless you.